Finding cube roots. Cube root. A cube root of a number is a number that when multiplied by itself and then multiplied by itself again equals the given number. So we have the cube root of 216, which is the cube root of 6 times 6 times 6, which is 6. Perfect cube. Perfect cube is the integer that can be written as the cube of an integer. The cube root of 216 is the cube root of 6 times 6 times 6, which is 6. Find each cube root. All right, letter A. Cube root of 8. Well, oops. 2 to the third power equals 8 because 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So the cube root of 8 equals the cube root of 2 cubed. These cancel out, meaning if you're gonna cube root a cube, that just means that it's gonna be 1. So that equals 2. All right, what times what gives you negative 27? That's gonna be negative 3 to the third power. That equals negative 27. So the cube root of a negative 27 is the cube root of a negative 3 cubed, which equals negative 3. Letter C. The cube root of 1/64th, well, the cube root of 1 is going to be 1. Cube root of 64, well, what times what gives you 64? That's going to be 4. So 1/4 cubed, you need to have that in parentheses. That equals 1 divided by 64. If you don't have this in parentheses and you just say 1 cubed, then it's not telling you to cube the 4 as well. So the cube root of 1/64th is the cube root of 1/4 cubed, which equals 1/4. There we go. All right, on your own, try the next 3. Let's find the cube root. Cube root of 1, that's going to equal 1. The cube root of negative 343 is negative 7. Forgot about my answers. And letter H, the cube root of negative 27 thousandths is going to be negative 3/10. All right. Key idea. Cubing a number. And finding a cube root are inverse operations. You can use this relationship to evaluate the expressions and solve equations. Involving cubes. So evaluating expressions involving cube roots. We're going to evaluate this. Well, this is 2 times negative 6, because this cube root of negative 216 is negative 6, minus 3. That's negative 12 minus 3. So I'm going to add the opposite. That's going to give me negative 15. Letter E, the cube root of 125 cubed. Well, those two cancel out. You're left with 125 plus 21 gives you 146. All right, let's continue. On your own. All right, try the next one and then come back and check. Whoop. There we go. All right, 18 minus 4 times the cube root of 8 is 2, so 18 minus 8 is 10. Letter J, cube root of negative 64 cubed, those simplify to 1, so you just have negative 64 plus 43, which becomes negative 21. Letter K, 5 times the cube root of 512 is 8 minus 19. This is 40 minus 19, so that's going to give me 21. All right, example 3, evaluating an algebraic expression. Evaluate x divided by 4 plus cube root of x divided by 3 when x equals 192. So I'm going to plug 192 in every time I see x. So 192 divided by 4 plus the cube root of 192 divided by 3. 192 divided by 4 is 48. Well, we want to have the cube root. 3 is not a perfect cube, and neither is 192, but I'm going to do 192 divided by 3, and that gives me 64. 64 is a perfect cube. That's 48 plus 4. That's an answer of 52. All right, try the next two on your own, then come back and check. Letter N, evaluate the expression for the given value of the variable. The cube root of 8y plus y, and y is 64. So 3 times the cube root of 8 times 64 plus 64. So it's going to be the cube root 512 plus 64. That's 8 plus 64. That's 72. You can be using your calculators on these. 2 times negative 3 plus the cube root of 9 times negative 3. So it's negative 6 plus the cube root of negative 27, negative 6 plus negative 3. Answer of, oops, there's a minus there. My apologies. When you have the two minuses, you want to add, so that's actually going to give you the answer of a negative 3. All right, example 4, real life application. Find the surface area of the baseball display case. So the volume is 125 cubic inches. So the volume. Well, to find the volume of this shape, that is going to be s cubed. So 125 equals s cubed. I'm going to find the cube root of both sides. I get s equals 5 inches. So that means that each of these is 5 inches. But we want to find the surface area. So we're going to do s times s. So that's s squared. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides like that. So 6 times 5 squared. That's 6 times 25. That's 150 square inches for the surface area. Last problem on your own. The volume of a music box that is shaped like a cube is 512 cubic centimeters. Find the surface area of the music box. Just like before, we know that this is the volume, 512. And if we were to take the same type of information, s times s times s is going to be the volume. So 512 equals s cubed. I'm the cube root, both sides, and I get that s equals 8 centimeters. So each side length is worth 8. If it helps, you can always draw a box as well. And you can label that 8 centimeters, 8 centimeters, and 8 centimeters. Now we want to do the surface area. Well, it's going to be 8 times 8, so 8 squared. And you have 6 sides like that. So 64 times 6, which is 384 square centimeters, is the surface area. Great job. Go work on big ideas.